The holidays can bring joy, but they can also bring pressure, grief, and isolation, especially for people struggling with addiction or working to stay in recovery. This afternoon, WMTV's Shana Najawan talked with Tom Farley, brother of late SNL star Chris Farley, who works with the National Recovery Organization. Shana, what'd you learn?
Mark, this week, as the anniversary of his brother's death approaches, Farley is sharing tools to help people navigate the holidays, drawing from his own recovery journey and years of advocacy.
Keep the tradition, change the behavior.
Tom Farley says the pressure to fit in or push through can be overwhelming during the holidays, especially for people navigating addiction or recovery.
Know that you're just trying to kind of manage this wonderful tradition. You can't do it on willpower alone. That's impossible. And we've all tried.
Farley is a community outreach director with Recovery.com, a Madison-based organization that connects people to recovery resources. His perspective is shaped by personal loss.
As I started to embrace my own recovery, I started to look at what Chris may have been going through and understanding a little bit more.
His brother, Saturday Night Live comedian and Madison native Chris Farley, struggled with addiction and died in 1997.
I'm able to take the brother with a substance use disorder and separate it from the brother that I loved.
That understanding, he says, has changed how he approaches both grief and recovery.
Support, don't monitor. That's one of my favorites. Surveillance creates, shame and guilt and isolation. Keeps that person in isolation, and you don't want that person in isolation. You want them connected to you.
He says connection, not control, is what helps people get through the holidays.
Like my brothers, learned in improv. We need to be this ensemble that welcomes people in with all their otherness. That really creates a atmosphere of belonging.
Farley is co-hosting a free virtual fireside chat tomorrow on navigating the holidays in recovery. We will have more details on our website. Live in the studio, Shana Najawan, WMTV 15 News.
Shana, thank you. If you or someone you love is struggling, help is available. You can call or text 988 for the Crisis Lifeline.